The morning sun broke gently through the silk curtains of the grand mansion that stood on the edge of the city's elite district, but inside its walls, peace was nowhere to be found. Amelia sat at the edge of the massive marble staircase, her hand pressed firmly on her belly as a sharp contraction seized her body. Sweat glistened on her brow, though the air conditioning hummed softly, and her trembling fingers clutched her hospital bag that she had packed days ago. The mansion, which once felt like home, now felt like a cold, unfamiliar prison. Her husband, Ethan, descended the stairs, his phone glued to his ear, his voice low but sharp with irritation. He was dressed impeccably as always, tailored navy suit, polished shoes that clicked arrogantly against the marble floor, a faint scent of expensive cologne that used to make Amelia's heart flutter but now made her stomach churn. "No, baby, I told you, I'll be there soon," he murmured, a smile creeping onto his lips, the kind that used to be reserved for Amelia. But not today. Not anymore. Amelia's eyes followed him, her chest tightening as she realized who he was speaking to. The mistress. The same woman she had once thought was just a business partner. The same woman whose lipstick she had found smudged on Ethan's shirt 2 months ago. The same woman who had slowly replaced her in her own home. Another contraction hit, and Amelia gasped in pain. But Ethan didn't even turn around. "Ethan," she managed to whisper, her voice cracking. "It's time. The baby's coming." He finally looked at her, his expression cold, impatient, as though she were an inconvenience in his schedule. "You'll be fine." "Call the driver," he muttered, already scrolling through his phone. "I have a meeting." Amelia's heart shattered a little more. A meeting. That was what he called her suffering now. The man who had once knelt before her with tears in his eyes, promising forever, couldn't even be bothered to take her to the hospital. For years, Amelia had been his loyal wife, the one who stood beside him when his business almost went bankrupt, the one who skipped her own dreams to help him build his empire, the one who loved him despite his arrogance and flaws. But ever since he had met her, everything changed. The woman in the red dress, Serena, beautiful, bold, and cunning. She knew exactly how to stroke Ethan's ego, how to make him feel like the king he always wanted to be. And Amelia? She became invisible. Every dinner became an argument. Every smile became forced. Every night he came home later, smelling of perfume that wasn't hers. Now, as she stood by the door holding her hospital bag, Ethan's voice rose again. "Serena, baby, I'm on my way. Just finishing up something." He looked up, his eyes locking with Amelia's. "Don't wait for me." His words cut deeper than any blade could. She took a shaky breath. "Ethan, please," she whispered, tears forming. "I need you. This is our child." He frowned, almost annoyed. "Don't start this drama now, Amelia. You've been too emotional lately. Maybe that's why we've grown apart." Then he walked out, the slam of the front door echoing through the hollow mansion. Amelia stood there frozen, tears spilling down her cheeks. Her baby kicked inside her, a painful reminder of how fragile yet strong she had to be. She clutched her belly, whispering, "It's okay, baby. Mommy's got you." But even as she said it, her body began to give way to the pain of labor. Her phone buzzed in her purse. It was her sister, Lily. "Amelia? Are you okay?" "I had a bad feeling this morning." Lily's voice trembled. "He left me," Amelia whispered, barely able to speak. "I'm in labor, and he's with her." Silence. Then a rush of movement on the other end. "Stay right there, I'm coming." As she waited, Amelia's mind drifted to memories of her father, his gentle smile, his wise words. He had passed away a year ago, leaving behind a mysterious will that she hadn't even had the courage to open. Ethan had insisted on handling all the legal matters, saying, "You don't need to stress yourself with paperwork, babe." She had trusted him then. But what she didn't know was that inside, that will was her father's last gift, an inheritance worth over $500 million, a fortune that would have made her the majority shareholder in his global logistics empire. Ethan had hidden it from her, forged signatures, and lied to the lawyers, thinking it was his ticket to permanent wealth. He had no idea that a secondary copy of the will had been sealed and sent to her father's lifelong friend, who had sworn to give it to Amelia only when she was ready. By the time Lily arrived, Amelia was barely standing. Her sister rushed her to the hospital, her heart breaking to see her strong, beautiful sister like this, betrayed, broken, and alone. Hours passed in a blur of pain and chaos. The screams, the contractions, the nurses shouting orders, it was all a haze. But through it all, Amelia never stopped whispering to her unborn child, "You're my light. You're my strength. We'll be okay." When the baby finally arrived, A healthy, beautiful little girl. Amelia held her close and cried, not just from pain, but from the realization that she no longer needed Ethan. She had given life to something pure and innocent, something he could never take from her. Meanwhile, Ethan was at a luxurious resort with Serena, sipping champagne, laughing without a care. His phone buzzed with a message from the hospital, but he ignored it. Serena smiled, brushing his cheek. Forget her, Ethan. She was holding you back. You're destined for greatness. And for a while, he believed her. But greatness has a strange way of humbling the proud, because while Ethan enjoyed his false paradise, the world was shifting under his feet. The lawyers handling Amelia's father's estate had discovered Ethan's deception. The sealed copy of the will had been verified, and the true heiress was about to be contacted, Amelia. 2 days later, as Amelia sat by her hospital bed, holding her baby girl whom she named Hope, a man in a gray suit entered. "Mrs. Walker?" he asked politely. "Yes," she replied weakly. He handed her an envelope. "I'm from Wilshire & Associates. Your late father instructed me to deliver this to you personally." Confused, Amelia opened it. As her eyes scanned the letter, her breath caught. The words blurred through her tears. "To my beloved daughter, Amelia, you are the rightful heir to the Lawson Group. Never let anyone make you feel small. When you read this, remember, true strength is in your kindness, but never mistake kindness for weakness." The lawyer continued, "Mrs. Walker, you now control all holdings valued at approximately $500 million. For the first time in months, Amelia smiled, not out of joy, but out of awakening. Everything Ethan had taken from her, every tear she shed, it had all led to this moment. She looked at her sleeping daughter and whispered, "We're going to build something beautiful, just you and me." At that same moment, Ethan's empire began to crumble. His business accounts were flagged for fraud. His investors began to pull out. Serena, sensing the downfall, quietly disappeared, leaving him with nothing but debt and disgrace. Amelia didn't seek revenge. She didn't have to. Her success would speak for itself. But she had one last thing to do before she moved on completely. 3 weeks later, she walked into Ethan's office, now half empty, the walls stripped bare, his once confident eyes filled with panic. When he saw her, his jaw dropped. She looked radiant, dressed in white, her hair neatly tied, her posture regal. "Amelia?" he stammered. She simply smiled. "I came to thank you," she said softly. "If you hadn't thrown me out, I might never have discovered who I truly am." He blinked in disbelief. "What do you mean?" She placed a folder on his desk. "This is for you. It's a notice from my company. Lawson Group is buying out your assets. Effective immediately." His face drained of color. "Your company?" She nodded. "Yes. Ethan, the one my father built, the one you tried to steal." She leaned closer, her voice calm but deadly. "Enjoy your new life. You'll need to learn how it feels to be on the other side." Then she turned and walked away, leaving him speechless, broken, and finally aware of the treasure he had thrown away. Months passed. The woman Ethan once called too emotional now walked through glass towers bearing her family's name. Amelia had rebuilt her father's company into a global powerhouse that carried not only his legacy, but her own quiet strength. She didn't chase revenge. She let success do the talking. Every headline that praised the new Lawson Group carved Ethan's pride a little deeper. He had lost his mansion, his cars, even Serena, who vanished the moment his accounts froze. Now he rented a small apartment and watched news segments where Amelia, elegant in white, spoke about integrity and leadership. He would mute the TV but keep watching anyway. The pain of seeing what he'd thrown away burned worse than any punishment. Meanwhile, Amelia focused on Hope, the baby who had saved her. She would rock her at night and whisper, "We're free now." The lawyers who once ignored her now sought her signature. The same society that mocked her as a discarded wife now called her Madame Lawson. But Amelia's heart hadn't hardened. It had simply learned when to close its doors. One rainy evening, she visited the small cafe where she and Ethan once dreamed of building a life together. She sat at the corner table sipping tea and wrote a letter addressed to the man I used to love. It wasn't filled with anger, just truth. "You taught me that love without respect is emptiness. Thank you for setting me free." She never sent it. She left it under the teacup and walked away smiling. Weeks later, fate gave Ethan one last chance. He showed up at Lawson headquarters unannounced, drenched from a storm, clutching a folder of resumes. Security almost turned him away until Amelia's assistant recognized him. When he entered her office, he froze. She stood near the window holding Hope, who now had his eyes but her grace. Ethan, she said quietly. He swallowed hard. I didn't come to beg, he lied. I just wanted to see her. Amelia looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. He approached carefully, tears forming as he saw the tiny hand reaching toward him. I was blind, he whispered. I thought power made me a man, but you found real power in walking away. Amelia's voice was calm. Pain has a way of teaching what comfort never will. She handed him a small envelope. Inside was a check, not charity, but closure. Use it to start again. Be a father if you can, but from a distance. Hope will know you once you earn her respect. As Ethan left, he turned back one last time. Amelia stood there radiant, her daughter in her arms, sunlight breaking through the clouds behind her. For the first time, he understood what he had lost. Not wealth, but a woman of worth. Amelia watched him disappear down the corridor, then whispered to Hope. We rise by leaving behind what tried to bury us. That night, she uploaded a short video to her company's channel, her first public message since the scandal. Her words echoed across millions of screens. To every woman who's been underestimated, your value doesn't depend on who sees it. It depends on knowing it yourself. Never let betrayal define you. Let it refine you.